This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, this is your instructor Peter Olson. I'm providing the midweek critique for week 3, taking a look at your identity packages. So first up, we're going to do Nicholas. You did Brainiac Coffee. Nick, I was looking at your presentation. You got a lot of good stuff going on here. You don't seem to be using InDesign properly. So what I'm seeing, it looks like you're placing screenshots of some things in here. You should just place the Illustrator files directly. This looks perfect, as does this. And then this is all blurry. Not sure why. Great color palette, some good variety, contrast. It's bright, it's wake you up, smart. I think that it works for this brand. There's your business card. You're using sort of a scientific elements pattern, which is okay. I would say this could probably be even lower contrast. You're doing a light gray on a white. What if you did a very light cream kind of yellow and maybe a little darker yellow back there? I would try that, see what that looks like. I'm not sure this is really going to work for letterhead. It's, first of all, it's very high contrast and it sort of interferes with the letter on the page. And you want to spruce up this letter a little bit, make it look a little more like a real letter. You could do something with your nucleus maybe as a pattern. Again, screenshots sort of placed in InDesign. No reason to do that. Just place the AI file directly. If you're having trouble, reach out. I'll help you out. So return address on the back, that's okay. You probably go on the flap, maybe horizontally. And since you have the name and the logo, you probably don't need to repeat it. Overall, you're starting to approach a brand. I think the issue is this pattern. It's different in different places. It's kind of interfering with the letter. I think if you work out that pattern well with the right sort of color, low contrast colors, it could work and sort of bring everything together. You've got a good logo, good concept, and I wouldn't be afraid to use more of your palette. You've got a good palette, so try that. All right, next up is Jared. Jared, you're doing Solbeso. You fell in love with this young lady you drew. You've got a good color palette going on. I think you spec'd it perfectly. This looks really great. It's got good contrast and seems branded. So just a couple thoughts on your logo. I don't know, I would work out a different way to do the type so that you can see, you don't have to have those strokes on there. It's like pretty complex portrait, and then it's very kind of rough sun. You somehow got to bring it all together a little more. This motif of these kind of rolling shapes in the background, I think they're okay. They don't seem particularly branded. I think there's more you could do with the sun, perhaps. This is a good looking piece of fruit, sort of knockback. Hierarchy in the type, name, title, bigger, separated. The rest of the information could be lower, a little smaller maybe. Letterhead, I would try to make this look a little more like a real letter. And just, this is not really enough. I think that you've got some motif here that could work, some of those maybe as a border around the bottom or something. And again, screenshots placed in InDesign, no reason for that. Just place your Illustrator. You can place multiple artboards using the Show Options tool. So if you're having trouble with that, let me know. Return address, maybe on the back flap. Maybe a new configuration of your logo with the type on the side. That would help. It's a little dark for an envelope too. You'd have to print black on an envelope, so this would have to be lighter. Overall, you're approaching sort of a branded look. I think that if you work out some of these details, you'll be in very good shape. So And make sure you fix the master page to have your name and the project name Solbeso there. So keep going. All right. Next up, we've got Andrew. Andrew, you're doing Dark Wave soap. I think you came to a pretty good conclusion on this logo. I was a little disappointed you weren't using more of the goth part of the branding, but you've got an interesting color palette, this sort of turquoise, sun yellow, a tint of the violet and dark violet. It seems a little fun and happy for this brand, but you're kind of making it work. But here's the thing, I would try to figure out a different color other than black in your logo and see what that looks like. And I don't see your color palette. You got to have 5 colors. It looks like you've got them, but you need to spec them out. So make sure you do that. The wave elements, maybe a little more consistency in how they're used. This one with the pointed wave, maybe it's a little smaller and darker here. So you just got to sort of bring it together a little more. Like this card has sort of the gradient going on. That's not happening anywhere else. And yeah, sort of think through the elements you're using and how you can use them over and over so they bring it all together a little more. Right now, we're kind of experimenting, which is good, but you got to pull it together. Next up, Melissa, you are doing Thor's Coffee, and you've got your logo. It's really hard to see. And that's concerning. So it looks like the hammer in a triangle with a coffee cup. I would make Thor's much bigger. Coffee could be smaller underneath. The triangle's not doing you any favors, so maybe reconsider that. A pattern of coffee beans seems not really branded for this, maybe it's hammers, maybe it's lightning bolts, something a little bolder, stronger, because this is like coffee that really has some caffeine kick. So Viking Heritage, there's tons of patterns and things to draw from that you could use besides coffee beans. Coffee beans seems like a real mundane solution. This gray here is the default gray. I would question that. Like, can you do a different color? Maybe you have a paper color that you're using throughout. And your color palette right now seems extremely limited. You've got red and light red and black. You want to have 5 colors. Make sure you spec them out and make good use of them. So right now you got a little more work to do. You've got to sort of figure out the voice of the brand and find those motifs, the patterns that's going to help you. So that's all we got today. So I hope you all are working hard, and I'll try to take another look tomorrow.